Thanks for 100 subscribers in just 2 videos, guys. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. And in this video, as I said in before video, we'll be continuing with artificial gravity. But in this video, we'll see about microplastics, because microplastics has a greater extent and impact on our life, so that it's more important than artificial gravity. And this is a social public video, so that I'm not going to say to subscribe or like, because just share it or speak it about your friends. And many problems like cancer and immunity decreasement due to this microplastics are still under research, but they have high impact on our human system. And let's see how they do and what all the reasons. Let's find them. And this is Inside Everything. Why this many years? Many environmentalists and in every book they are stressed out that plastics are not good for life and it's not good for environment. Now let's see why it is. You know that until this year there have been 8.3 billion tons of plastic. It is equal to just adding 11 zeros to 8.3. Then you think that much big value of kgs of plastic have been produced by us. Now let's see, has it been recycled? Only 2.3 billion metric tons has been recycled, and remaining 6.3 billion tons has been went as waste. And this waste, even they can throw in dumpfills and they can incinerate. But only out of this 8.3 billion tons, only 9% of this has been incinerated. That means it has been burnt, but it also gives some sort of air pollution. But the best thing to do is recycling. But recycle also is very less when compared to, because only 2.3 billion have been recycled and properly disposed. Remaining all goes to landfills, which ultimately ends in ocean. And let's see that how even oceans end up with a human. So let's see how this starts cycle. Now first we should know that only before the 6 to 7 decades, the plastic production grew over a large rate. Up to this, we have produced that 8.3 billion metric tons, but by 2050 we will have 12 billion metric tons of plastic, which will be more than number of fishes in the oceans. The reason is that the plastics that we deposit in ocean will be more than total number of fishes. Then you think how which in which condition will be. And let me give a clear idea about this. Here the problem comes is that these plastics destroy the aquatic system and enters our human body. First of all microplastics are not a kind of plastic, whereas they are the fragments of the plastics which are very small and it can be seen by our eyes like other plastics. For example, first before knowing this microplastic, you want to know about fragmentation. Fragmentation is nothing but just breaking down something into fragments or into smaller compounds. The plastics fragmentation result in this microplastics. These microplastics are very small, which are less than 5 millimeter. So, which is less than 5 millimeter, we can't even see it with our eyes. And then, many may have confusion that how these plastics get converted into microplastics. I have said that it undergoes fragmentation, but for what reasons and for what factors this undergoes fragmentation. Now let's see what are the factors that let the plastic converted into microplastics. And the reasons are just like even our sunlight which we receive also causes fragmentation, the physical, biological, chemical factors. And like this, many factors are there for this conversion of plastics into microplastics. But there are two types under this microplastics. For example, there are primary microplastics and then secondary microplastics. And this microplastics, I will explain these two types in a very short, within 1 or 2 minutes. Now, these primary microplastics are not fragmented, whereas they are created by our purposefully by our humans, because they are used in facial cleansers, cosmetics, or in an air blasting technology. Though many companies have accepted to reduce the production of microbeads, it's also some sort of microplastics. There are still many bioplastics that also have a long degradation life cycle similar to normal plastic which we use. Therefore, this primary microplastics are used in various fields, even we are using it. But when it comes to disposal, it is not being proper. So therefore, we have to reduce this primary microplastics usage too. And now we will go to secondary microplastics. Secondary microplastics aren't produced like primary microplastics, whereas they are like formed due to the breakdown of plastics into fragments. As I said, this all undergoes fragmentation. And unless the factors I said before, then the factors which I said like UV rays or physical physical factors, biological factors, chem photo degradation, and like these factors contribute the plastic to shrink incredibly small, even which can be found by eyes. Many microplastics can be observed only to microscopes and nano FPI technology. I hope you understood the origin of microplastics. Now let's move to the topic effects of microplastics on humans. Before knowing the effects of microplastics on humans, let's know about how much a person average consumes plastics per year. I say in the means of consumption is not by eating, just by how much we use. And now let's get inside that for each country this value differs. For example, in US a person averagely uses 109 kgs of plastic, Europe 65 kgs, and in China they use 38 kgs, Brazil 32 kgs, and in India 11 kgs, and in all over the world the average comes that each person uses 28 kgs. Now we may think that amount of plastic used by a person averagely in India is less than other countries, but this is a big problem there. In India, a person uses 11 kg of plastics per year, but first thing is that population. We have more population, then that means you use more plastics. And then the number two is that only 3.8 kgs of plastic out of 11.11 kgs of plastic is only recycled, which means that remaining 7.2 kgs of plastics are going just as waste. Now we imagine just multiply with our Indian population into 7.2 kgs. That means we will get a big value, which is very very big. That means that our this plastic disposal system is not good, and therefore this 11 kgs average is very very, though it may be low, but it's dangerous. So you can say that this India is a very low, so very low average. So we are not causing any damage to environment. How much ever we use, we cause some. How much ever we use, we are causing some damage to our environment. And now let's get enter into the completely into microplastics. After seeing the list of countries, average plastics used per year by a person, you may think that India is very low. Yes, India is low, but there's a big problem in this. That first, the India first other countries have very less population other than China and India. So first we can say that population is a factor. Number two is that second in India only 3.8 kg out of 11 kgs of plastics are recycled from a person's use. That means is that you just multiply with our total 120 plus crore population into 7.2 kgs. A huge amount of plastics will come, and even the recycle rate than other countries is very very low in India. Therefore, we are causing damage to our environment, and this will have a future great impact on our future. And now let's get completely inside the microplastics. After seeing the list of countries, average plastics used per year by a person, you may think that India is very low. Yes, India is low, but there's a big problem in this. That first, the India first other countries have very less population other than China and India. So first we can say that population is a factor. Number two is that second in India only 3.8 kg out of 11 kgs of plastics are recycled from a person's use. That means is that you just multiply with our total 120 plus crore population into 7.2 kgs. A huge amount of plastics will come, and even the recycle rate than other countries is very very low in India. Therefore, we are causing damage to our environment, and this will have a future great impact on our future. And now let's get completely inside the microplastics. We all eat salt. Without eating salt, we can't live. But it will be tough to believe that we are eating microplastics along with salt. There are 63.7 microplastics in 1 kg of salt. Until this, we have founded this in many researchers led by IIT Bombay. And now see, if a person consumes 5 grams of salt per day, at the end of year, the person would have been accumulated with 117 microplastics in his body. 5.2 trillion plastics had been mixed with oceans. Microplastics never get destroyed. They always roam somewhere in our ecosystem. For example, first from plastic, they convert as microplastic. And from microplastics, they enter through salt. From salt, they enter to human body. Again, from human body, they go through stool. And again, somehow they from stool, they do not get uh, degraded. Again, they come into our environment. So plastic never leaves humans. Because we have used that much amount, and we can't use without plastic. We can't live in this earth because everything we have made laptops, phones, everything is of some sort of plastic. But we can avoid small things like plastic bottles, which we throw into some way enters the ocean again by many methods. This can be proven simply when we throw some plastic, it just transfers or moves away by movement of wind, water, and many other agents. Then it readily enters the water bodies. Water bodies, it takes thousands of years to decompose. Some plastics may take 400 or more than years, but it's also very hard. But before that, due to many physical factors, they don't get decomposed, whereas they get converted into fragments and they are getting microplastics. Then again, they enter our environment. This microplastics like a villain to us, and then they give entry into our environment and ultimately affects all types of environment and organisms in the earth. And next one is that for 1 year, 8 to 13 million tons of cages of plastics are being mixed into ocean. Per minute, we humans all over the world throw out 1 million tons of plastic bottles, which aren't being recycled and get mixes with our environment. And ultimately, if the same rate of plastic bottles mixing with environmental factors continues, by 2050, the Earth's ocean will only be full of plastic bottles. Now we are seeing fishes. Even fishes will be very, very less when compared to this plastic. That means like tons for tons. And next will be that the total number of plastic bottles will be more than the total fishes living in the ocean, as I said. Therefore, it will cause a disaster which is more than disaster recorded in our human history. After this, I have said about what are the common environmental research factors and effects of this. And now let's particularly get into the human bodies and researchers which have been contributed by many countries. Now we can see about them. A research in Germany says that microplastics are found in drinking water, food we eat, and many more, everything we consume. The reason is that a, a research from Brazil on 2015 says that 10 tons of microplastic gets deposited into land from our atmosphere. On 2016, from a research from England says that the human's respiratory system can be infected with accumulation of microplastics. Many may think that microplastics can only be in food or drinking water. It's even in air, it's in soil, and everything we found, it will conquer us one day. In India, an average of 6,10,000 acres are used under salt production, and 2,40,000 tons of salt are produced per year. In India, a person consumes 11 grams of salt per day, but according to WHO, says that only 5 grams of salt must be consumed by a person every day. So try to consume this salt on this average. We can't stop the production of salt due to microplastics because the salt producers doesn't know about this microplastics and they are not doing for wantedly, because we can't say the many mistake at any salt producers because we actually did this plastics and mixed up with oceans and now we can end up on salt producers. The only way is not stopping salt production. Without eating salt we'll get many diseases and it's impossible to survive on it. Therefore, without we can't stop the production of salt, but whereas we can stop production of microplastics and plastics. Now, the biggest cause is that for plastic bottles we use. This one-time throwable plastics or disposable plastic waste take millions of years to decompose, as all we know. And but the biggest problem is that these plastics never get decomposed for a long time. And still we move on, we will get many things that we can say that we can't completely stop usage of plastic because everything we use is like that. So just by recycling, reusing, and reducing the plastics which we use are the best three methods that can be done by every human being in this planet to survive. Because if we didn't do this now, only two generations of more than us will survive. So a conclusion is that there's only one solution for all these problems is that we can stop using the one-time throwable plastics and government is also banning more plastics. Imagine that now the biodegradable plastics are being invented. They are already coming to use, but the reason is the rates arise that they are not in use proper. If when we start using more biodegradable plastic, automatically the rates of this biodegradable plastic will fall down, and it will also come to a price like normal plastics. Now imagine many may say that many people are involved in plastic production. You can move them same into biodegradable plastic production too. Or we can make some other things and some other organic products as this replacement rather than using this one-time throwable plastics. Now when we see for this 15,000 people, we can they are economically back. But more than that, we have more importance for environment because it will kill our whole earth. So that therefore we can give them some alternatives, but that doesn't have alternative till now. We don't have any other planet self-sustaining for our full Earth's population. Though Moon and Mars are there, but they can be only up to a small population, and only small people can be transferred over there. And if the same rate continues over within 100 years, the earth will completely destroy and it will become unfit for human survival, and we will also destroy all the organisms which are innocent, who didn't do anything, but all the causes due to humans. I hope you have got understood about plastics and microplastics. Please, I would not like to say subscribe because this is a social content video. At least please share this video, or at least please mention to your friends when speaking about this microplastics and its effects, and say them to use these solutions. Thanks for watching.